We're going to get to some free agency and draft updates for you guys on the Miami Dolphins. But if you haven't already, hit that sub button. We're going to continue to grow this channel here at Chat Sports. And of course, the NFL Draft is just around the corner, so you know we'll have you guys covered on that front. Free videos when you guys subscribe right now. Let's begin with the latest free agent linked to the Miami Dolphins. That is Phil Haynes, the former Seahawks offensive guard. He visited the Dolphins on Monday, so very clear sign of interest there between the two parties. Haynes has spent the majority of his time and would be a fit for the Dolphins organization at the right guard spots, which the guard positions in general are potential areas of concern right now for Miami, understandably so. His numbers in 2023, where he was a part-time starter, some injury stuff, etc., that caused some problems there. Not great overall grades. The run blocking was average. What's noteworthy is the sacks are a higher ratio than the hits and hurries, which normally means it could be a quarterback thing, and you want that pressure to sack rate to be low, right? A little bit high on the penalties. Signing Phil Haynes is not the type of move you make and say, we've got our starting guard. It's not what I think this team is trying to do either. It's, hey, let's bring him in and see if he wows us and earns a starting gig, or more likely, if he provides us with some much-needed depth at the guard position. Right now, there's Isaiah Wynn, also coming off a fairly injury-filled season. Aaron Brewer can play center. Liam Eichenberg is Liam Eichenberg and probably just not going to be good enough to really be a true starter. Then it's guys like Jason Haynes and Lester Cotton. And I like Robert Jones, but that's not exactly an all-star group of interior presence where you kind of want some better presence. If your offense is going to be a quick strike passing game and ball gets out quickly with Tua, you want that interior grouping to be better, because otherwise that's how issues get caused if pressure's in the face on a quick drop from your quarterback. So I'm expecting a cheap one-year deal if it goes down. I think it's a one-year deal, $1.3 million, maybe a couple $100,000 guaranteed. That's probably about the market at this point for Phil Haynes, and would not preclude the team from adding a more expensive guard or maybe more likely spending a premium pick on one in this year's draft. So do you want to sign Phil Haynes if you were the Dolphins? It's the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad plays, ignore it. Nobody cares. Y for yes, N for no. Now, Mel Kiper has put out his latest mock draft, which, funnily enough, this mock draft pick is the exact same as the one Daniel Jeremiah did. So when that happens, makes me think this is not how it's going to go down, but we'll discuss it anyway. It was Duke interior offensive lineman Graham Barton, who has plenty of fans around the NFL. Here was the argument laid out by Mel. Miami has lost a few starters over the past few weeks, as well as the salary cap situation, including guard Robert Hunt, DT Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Andrew Van Ginkel at linebacker, and quarterback Xavien Howard. The organization could go a few different directions with this pick. But I still like the pairing of Barton and the Dolphins, though, because the way it could improve the middle of this offensive line. Barton has mostly played left tackle in college, but has the traits to move inside and command the game. Miami ranked 31st in pass block win rate at 49.2% last season, so it has to improve. Now, Kiper had Barton listed as a center/guard. With Aaron Brewer in tow, I would assume this would be a left guard pick. And that's where you'd end up playing him to maximize the interior of that offensive line. More on Barton and who else the Dolphins could have picked in that Kiper scenario. But first, today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. They've got specials for new and returning users alike for March Madness when you head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Football season may be over, but the action on the hardwood is just heating up. Whether it's March Madness or the fight for NBA playoff seeding, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of the year. Get in on the excitement with PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. March Madness does kick off tonight, by the way, with the first 4 games, and you can go pick more or less right now. PrizePicks is also giving a free pick for Caitlin Clark's matchup on Saturday. It's a half point. That's a no-brainer right there. Just select more on the 0.5 points for Clark and pair it with some other winners to maximize your earnings. I've got Joel Scott less than Colorado State, he doesn't average 13 points per game, and Virginia's defense and lack of offensive play style, well, I think will push down the points there. I will be aggressive, though, with Ryan Dunn. I know he's more of a defensive guy, but I think he could surprise some people with a good performance. I'll be aggressive, the demon pick there, which is a higher line, bigger payout at 9.5 points. PrizePicks is simple. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get started now, if you haven't already, at prizepicks.com/CLNS and get a first deposit match of $100. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Back to Graham Barton here, who did pick less on the snaps played this year. Injuries were a factor there. When he has been out the past couple years, though, he's been a very reliable player overall. 2 sacks, 0 hits, 9 hurries. A little high on the sacks, but not concerningly so. I think would boost the run blocking to it. I think at guard, some of those issues you ran into at tackle would be more limited. Now, some others who were on the board in the Mel Kiper mock draft that intrigued me for Miami. Latu, look, they're fine at edge right now, but if he falls because of medicals, you got to consider it. Johnny Newton. You want to replace Christian Wilkins, get a disruptive 3 technique? Johnny Newton would be one of your better options out there. That's out of Illinois. Jordan Morgan, another tackle guard combination there along the offensive line. I don't think center's a huge need with the signing of Aaron Brewer, but play one of those guys at guard too, Jackson Powers-Johnson. And I'll mention Nate Wiggins as the top corner left. I don't think the Dolphins are going to take one early, but I still wanted to mention it. I think maybe Johnny Newton or Byron Murphy can make a lot of sense for this team. We'll see. So if the Dolphins took Graham Barton over those guys like Byron Murphy are off the board, by the way, grade the pick for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Some news items I want to hit here. Jeff Wilson is going to stick around with the Dolphins organization, it certainly seems like, for now. He is taking a pay cut. This was announced as a restructure. It is a pay cut. His cap hit is dropping from $3.67 million to $2.38 million. He's getting an additional $400,000 in guaranteed money. There's also incentives, $500,000 there, some workout, roster bonus stuff, but the cap hit going down by, we'll just round and say $1.3 million, that's a pay cut. So he's, I would assume, back in some capacity this upcoming year for Miami. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Jeff Wilson, Chris Brooks, Savon Ahmed. I know the Dolphins keep getting linked to backs. I think that top 5 room plus your fullback is fine. I don't think they need to go out and get somebody else, but we'll see what they do. Back to the offensive line here. Maybe a troubling Connor Williams update. Certainly does not sound like Williams is close to signing anytime soon as he rehabs that knee injury. Here's what his agent said on his radio show, which is still kind of a weird phrase, but it's Drew Rosenhaus, so you get it. Connor Williams had a pretty significant knee injury, so he's taking his time with his rehab. I don't think his plan is to sign with the Dolphins or any team right now. I think he's focused on his medical situation, getting healthy, and seeing where he stands, not anytime soon. That worries me about the knee injury. You know, we saw guys like DJ Reed or Tara Quad and get signed. Makes me think that knee injury was pretty bad, and this could end up being a later re-signing or departure or whatever. More on this to come, but what is the % chance that Williams re-signs with the Miami Dolphins? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. I think a 1-year deal after June 1st could work. You have more cap space available then because you'll get some money from the Xavien Howard release, and it buys Connor Williams more time to rehab and get healthy. Before he went down, he was playing very well. He was performing as one of the better centers in football. The snap issues still remained at times, but he was still performing, as a pass blocker and a run blocker, so we'll say over 2/3 of his job, at an extremely high level. The issue is you have Aaron Brewer, who could also play guard. So maybe this is a hypothetical scenario, see if it plays out or not. Maybe the board does not fall your way right in the draft, and you have to pass on adding you can't get a guard in round 1 or round 2 or round 3. Maybe you bring back Connor Williams then, and you see how his health is. Worst case, you bring him back. He's a better option than Liam Eichenberg as a backup center. Or maybe you try one of Williams and Brewer at left guard. They've both played that spot before. Maybe a stretch, but something to monitor depending on how the market falls for Williams as he recovers from that knee injury.